This is Don't Panic, episode number 288, recorded September 28th, 2020. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and most importantly, you. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by two guys who wish they just paid $750 in personal income taxes. It's Colby Rabideau and Dan Miller. Good evening, gentlemen.
Boy, do I, Sean.
Topical.
Boy, do I.
Oh, that would be nice.
Can you imagine?
I literally cannot. It's so low, it sounds illegal. But what do I know? Maybe I just need a new account.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I owed the state of New York more money in taxes than that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just paid just the state more than $750.
Yeah.
Well, do you know that the majority of people audited by the IRS in any given year, the majority make under $30,000 a year?
Wow.
Really?
What
Yep.
are they being audited for?
Just anything else anyone else is audited for, inconsistencies and errors and things like that. But the reason for that is the IRS has had most of its investigative funding stripped, and it's so expensive to investigate a rich person because their finances are so complex. Plus, they can hire fancy lawyers and fight them in court for a long time, which a poor person cannot. The system is rigged. Anyway.
Yay, America.
Did you know that, I'm just full of facts, did you know that it takes 5 average black families in America to equal the wealth of one white family? It's my fun fact of the day.
Yeah.
Do you want me to keep going?
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that statistic have anything to do with the band known as Average White Band?
No, unfortunately. Totally unrelated, which is funny if you ask me.
Yeah, how many average black bands does it take to make the income of the average white band?
I think more research needs to be done, Dan. If you're up for it, I'll sponsor a grant.
I don't think I have the time, unfortunately.
No, you're busy, Dan. You're joining us by phone this evening, if he sounds a little bit different, because he is in the wilderness.
I'm in the wilderness. I'm calling in on location to probably the least topical place for a tech podcast. I'm experiencing satellite internet, which is really bad, and that's about it. That's my only. I got to use CarPlay on the way up. That's my only tech. My only tech contribution of this trip.
And
actually, I do have my pick is actually going to be pretty topical. It came up during this trip. That's why I picked it. So there's going to be another trick. One of those two.
Well, if anyone says it's not interesting, you're literally calling from space. So
I'll add a lot more delay every time you say something to pretend I'm from space. How about that?
Well, and just end with like over. Over.
Yeah, that's really funny, Sean. Over.
Over what?
I'm over the moon.
Over. Oh boy, this is not spectacular. But you used CarPlay and I'm assuming you're on iOS 14 already.
Yeah, so I got to use the new CarPlay.
Yeah.
I forget, the only thing I noticed that was new about it was the new Siri ball instead of the full screen Siri. What else should I have noticed?
Oh, Dan, you're missing out because you can customize the background of your CarPlay.
Wait, what?
The background image. Now, you can't pick any image. They just have more for you to choose from.
Wait, how do I do that?
You go into... I don't know if you can do it on the screen in the car itself or on your phone, but in the settings, there is like a background option that you can select. And it also has the updated Apple Maps as well, which I have now been using and are a million bazillion % better than they were years ago. It's a huge improvement, and they do.
Although,
yep.
I tried to. We passed through this area in Maine that has the LL Bean headquarters, and I knew that it was there, so I opened up Apple Maps. I had heard that Apple Maps had gotten a lot better, and I put in LL Bean, and it was like LL Bean outlet store, and I was great, go. and it took me out to the absolute middle of nowhere, just someone's house somewhere. The actual store was like on the other side of the highway, 5 minutes away. So I tried to use Apple Maps and I struck out. So then I went back to Google Maps again.
I just like the interface now because they show you when you're in navigation mode at like intersections, they show like a little picture of a traffic light or a little picture of a stop sign when you're coming up to a place. And I'm like, that's a really good idea.
Now, does it show
Yeah,
you whether or not the stoplight is red or green?
No, but it does have a button that says make light green. And when you push it, it turns green. Pretty handy.
That's it's not nothing.
But they also did a good job because now in the CarPlay view, where it's sort of the tiles where it shows the navigation, but also your music controls and your calendar and stuff, Google Maps now works through that. So if you like Google Maps, you really kind of have the full experience. It's definitely probably my favorite upgrade of iOS 14.
Have you been using Google Maps recently?
Yeah.
Do you have this problem with Google Maps with CarPlay that you have to keep Google Maps like forefront and the phone unlocked, otherwise the map won't update on the CarPlay display?
That's literally never happened to me ever. That's very weird.
That happens to me with this car, but I don't. This car is a little suspect. I'm not sure I trust it.
What'd you get, like a Ford Pinto or something?
No, the Nissan Rogue, it's just very, like, it creaks as you drive on the highway. It's just, like, lots of loose little bits in it.
I think...
it says it has all-wheel drive, but, like, I don't think it does. Although today I think maybe I realized I had to turn it on. I didn't try putting it in all-wheel drive lock, which maybe next time will help. That's, yeah.
I had a rental Nissan Rogue a couple of weeks ago, and it was fine. None of those things were true of my rental Nissan Rogue.
Your
It was
Google
a
Maps
different
work
year.
too?
Yeah.
Huh?
Something weird happened with the... Actually, I did have a weird time with the Google Maps at first, where it was like it would get all screwed up if I went to a different app. But then I like restarted my phone and everything was fine.
Oh, maybe that's what I need to do.
But that was also before iOS 14. That was iOS 13. So I don't know.
Yeah, my mother has a Nissan Rogue. The most mediocrest car I've ever driven.
Maybe this is what I need to do, Sean. Maybe I need to change my Google Maps location from while using to always.
Oh, yeah, because they did add all those extra permissions in iOS 14, so that could be it.
Mm-hmm.
I've run into a few apps where I, like, absentmindedly say, like, only use once, or, like, never, and then it comes back where it's like, oh, no, I actually did want you to always have access.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm trying to keep my information
Okay, so this probably
safe.
fixed it.
Yeah, give it a shot. Report back.
Nice.
Let us know.
Hey, I learned something on this show.
You know what? It only took 288 episodes, but we got there.
Now, Sean, I don't know if you want to get into this on this fine program, but we didn't have a show last week, and it sounds like you've had some fun physical infrastructure problems at your new residence.
Yeah, we can get into it. I wouldn't describe it as a fun story. So I bought a house, and it's a fine house.
Right.
But, it's amazing because I tell people the house was dirty. And they say, Sean, why would you buy a dirty house? And I was like, no, it's not like there was trash strewn everywhere and dirty diapers on the floor. It was so subtle. You could, this is no exaggeration whatsoever, you could walk up to the wall in the master bedroom, just take your regular hand and just wipe it along the wall, and your hand would be black. I cannot,
My God.
for the life of me, figure out, we've been, because my family's been by, we've been batting around theories as to how this, because it's not one type of dirt. There's dust and cobwebs everywhere, including coating the walls. But it's like there was a sort of a glass sconce above my sink that I took down and was going to replace. So I took the glass part of it down, set it on the counter, and went to do other things. I came back. It had dripped some kind of oil or residue that was on the glass onto the counter. I mean, this house is dirty in like multiple different ways that don't make sense with one another. Because we're like, did they just not clean it for years? And I think that's part of it. But then it's like maybe there was a fire or like some kind of spill. There's like all this weird, all of the like door casings, all of this like thick, gooey sort of residue all around them. It's just gross.
Do you think they vaped inside?
They could have smoked inside. You know, it's so funny. When we first got the property, they hadn't been living there for a little while, and we went in and it smelled. We thought it smelled like natural gas. We're like, oh my god, there's like like that sort of rotten egg smell of natural gas. I'm like, what is that? And we're like sniffing around the stove. It was only upstairs. It wasn't in the basement where like all the gas equipment is. So I'm like, what could this be? And we're like, of course I'm lazy. I don't do anything about it. And a couple days go by and we don't smell it anymore. It wasn't natural gas. The house was just really dirty.
Wow.
It turns out just
Now, was this evident when you went and saw the house, or
but that's
or
what's sneaky about it.
Hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. Like, the thing about buying a home is, at the open house, I had like 5 to 10 minutes to go through it. And you just quickly look around, everything looks fine. During my inspection, I had more time, but I was with the inspector looking at like the electrical panel and the hot water heat. And it's like, you don't take the time to notice these things. And even when I closed on the house, I was like, yeah, there's a few cobwebs, but they're just bad at dusting. And it wasn't until like I actually took a wet rag to a wall and I'm like, what the, like, you would never guess it would be, because literally you had to go years without cleaning for it to get like this. It was baffling. Because in a photograph, you would have been like, wow, that's a really cute house.
Right. So I remember when I toured this apartment, like I'm pretty close to the highway. Like you can't see the highway, but it's like across the next set of buildings. And I knew that, like, touring this apartment, I swear to God, I listened closely to see if you could hear the highway. And you, like, I don't know. You definitely couldn't. But, like, now living here, like, you can absolutely hear the highway when the windows are open. But I think they must have had, like, a fan on or something, like, at the open house. So,
Yep.
like, it was just enough white noise where you didn't notice. It's very sneaky.
Yep. No, they'll try and get anything by. And I joked. So what ended up happening was I had 2 weeks between closing and actually moving in, which I was going to use to do a couple small things around the house, pack. I've just been cleaning, and I've painted basically every wall and a few ceilings of the place, because not only was the walls dirty, but the paint job was actually very bad. Like, they missed whole spots. Like, you would not believe how they had to be blind. It's baffling. And so I'm so behind on schedule, and I said, if I'd known it was this dirty, I still would have bought it. I would have just negotiated them to pay somebody to come in and clean it, so I didn't have to. Because everything else is like, it's not like broken, right? It's like everything is in okay shape. It's just the time it's taken to go through and do all I ended up replacing almost all of the lighting fixtures because they were disgusting. It's just been annoying is what it has been. And thankfully I move on Thursday. Everything should be ready to go by then, but it's been a long couple weeks of all day, all night, just busting butt there. So the thrill of home ownership.
Well, I think it'll be worth it.
It's going to look a lot better, and it's a lot fresher. You can tell after we've painted everything, we're like, wow, it smells so clean in here. And we're like, because it is. It literally covered everything. But I will say I had just on a little bit of a technology front, I'm putting in 2 ceiling fans. And of course, why would you put in a regular ceiling fan when you could put in a smart ceiling fan? But the issue is, it's very hard to do a smart ceiling fan, I've learned. Because either you go to the manufacturer and you pay twice as much to get a pre-smarted fan, or you screw with the in-wall switches. But the issue with a fan is you can wire them a bunch of different ways between the light and the fan motor. Sometimes they're 2 switches in the same receptacle. Sometimes they're 2 switches in separate receptacles. But the way my house is wired, I was really limited. So I bought a no brand name smart unit that you actually wire up into the fan itself. So it's like the power for the fan goes through this unit. And theoretically, there is some app I can download where I can then do the smart talking device integrations, where I should be able to control them with the smart devices. But we will see. I mean, this is like some sketchy stuff. I'm very excited.
Nice. Sounds so shady.
I will report back. So
weird.
Yeah, so that's been the excitement in my life. So I'm thrilled to be able to make some time to come here. You guys graciously did the show a little earlier for me tonight, which was wonderful. And it's been.
So you're not podcasting from the new place yet.
No, so I move in on Thursday, and the Comcast guy comes bright and early Friday morning. So we'll get that all set up. And
that
then,
Comcast life.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny, they have a thing now where they don't. I mean, I don't think they ever did, but they don't want to come to your house because it costs them money and time, right? And I think now with Corona, it's extra incentive-y to not do so. So they have 3 installation options now. The free one is we're just going to mail you the boxes and you can figure it out. There's a middle option where we'll send a guy to check your wiring and make sure it's in the right places, but you still set up the equipment, or you can pay more and get the white glove service and they do everything for you. So because the wiring in this house is a little suspect and it's not in the right rooms where I want it, I paid the middle one. So the guy's coming out to get all the wiring ready, and then I have to install the devices. So fingers crossed.
So wait, there's an option where you, like, what do you have to do if you get the least costly one?
The free one is essentially self-service, where the assumption is that the cable outlets in your house are in the proper place and are already wired and hooked up, presumably a home that had Comcast before. And you just, if you're moving, you can just bring your devices from your old home, or they'll mail you new ones, and you just plug them in, and they should theoretically work, which I've done before, and it's actually really not that difficult. But again, you have to assume, like, for example, I have my third bedroom is going to be my sort of podcast studio office room. And there's no cable jack in there, but that's where I want my modem because I want it hardlined into my desktop. And so that's why I had them come out, where I'm going to see if they can run a line into that room. That's really where you need their expertise.
I see.
But if you're putting the TV the same place the previous owner did, you could just hook it up. That's what I did in this place. Was I literally just took my box, screwed it into the wall, and it worked. So not too bad. Although I had to find some. It was so funny because this place has wall jacks, but the previous renter took the coaxial cables with him, like what he's going to do with them. So do you know how hard it is to find a coaxial cable?
Like at a store?
Like at a store. It was very. I went to Walmart of all places, and they had coaxial. I had to get 2 coaxial cables. I was like, Jesus Christ, what year is this?
I always like, every time I move, when the Comcast people come, they leave you with like 18. Like I have like spools of coaxial cable in my closet from past Comcast installations.
See, for me, it's HDMI. They leave me I swear half my HDMI cables came from the cable company. They give them out like candy.
Nice. I've never gotten TV from a cable company, so I guess I've never gotten an HDMI.
Well, that's the trick. Is
yeah, me either.
My mother's going to be moving in with me, and we were talking about we're going to split the utilities, including the cable and internet bill. And I was like, yeah, so the bill for the we're getting cable and internet, and she watches TV and stuff. So I said we'll get cable. And it's going to be like $140 a month for both. And she's like, I have DirecTV now, and I pay like $200 a month just for DirecTV and internet. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, how do people afford like satellite TV?
I don't know. Now, is your 140 a like introductory offer?
It's a bundle, but I've been a multi-year subscriber with them in the past, and they don't, in my experience, they haven't gone nuts like bumping it up a ton of money in the next year, It might go up $5 or something.
Okay.
So they've been good so far.
Yeah, there's always a better deal if you hunt around with those things, but people don't hunt around. Just like people don't cancel their New York Times subscription or whatever. It's not something that people make a habit of.
Oh yeah, if I had $1 for every subscription I didn't cancel, I would be so. I mean,
You
literally.
still would be out a lot of money because all the subscriptions cost more than $1 a month.
I mean, honestly, it's crazy how bad I am about, because it's like, oh, I'm gonna sign up for this thing and try it out and see what it's about, and this is a 7-day trial, and I'm like, oh, this sucks, I don't want it, and then like 7 days later, I get a bill for like $50 or some crazy amount, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I've tried to, the thing I like I try and do all my subscriptions through the iPhone, so they all show up in the Apple subscriptions. And when I do a trial, I immediately, before I try the trial, I go into the subscriptions and pre-cancel it just in case. Sometimes
I recently signed up for the Xbox game. I don't remember what it was. There's so many different Microsoft products now. The one that lets you get like PC games, you pay your flat monthly fee and you can just download these PC games. I don't remember which one that is.
Game Pass.
But I signed up for it. Game Pass, thank you. And because I wanted to, there are a couple of things I wanted to try. One of them was Flight Simulator, and I haven't tried any of them yet. But I think you even get a 3-month trial now for free if you have a Discord account or something. Anyway, somehow I got this multi-month trial, and I tried to do that, Colby. I went for the immediate cancel, and it said, oh, if you cancel now, you'll immediately lose access to all of these games. And I was like, oh.
God damn it.
Then what's the point of the free trial? So I had to set a calendar reminder November, December. I think it was, December to cancel this thing, which I'll probably still forget to do somehow.
Well, who knows? Maybe by then you'll be enjoying it so much you want to pay for it.
Maybe.
This is great because I just remembered that the last time I resubscribed to Hulu, I couldn't get it to work through Apple, so I did it through their website, and I haven't watched Hulu in like 3 months, and I still am subscribed. So now I have to figure out how to turn that bad boy off.
Yeah, I try and push as many of my subscriptions through PayPal as possible, just because it's a one interface to log in and see where all the charges are going. Unfortunately, you can't cancel through there. Although you can for most services. You can actually just cancel the PayPal payment right from there, and then they'll just, when they don't get their money, they'll just cancel you on their service.
Right. I can't figure out how to do this. Oh my god.
But I just wished, I think it was Patreon who just a little while ago introduced prepaying for the year. So Patreon, you sponsor people every month, but frankly, credit card fees destroy Patreon from doing all these charges. So they say, pledge for a year in advance, and you actually save 10%. And the creator still gets the full amount. It's just it saves that in credit card fees for Patreon, and they give it back to you. And I'm like, I got to get better about doing years. Like, there's some services I've had monthly subscriptions to for years, and I wish they would just let me prepay a year sometimes, like a Dropbox or something, where I have an account, and I'm going to keep paying you guys because I have a ton of stuff there, and I could get a discount.
Yeah.
You know what we need is Apple ID. Apple ID, is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Sign in with Apple. You know how they give you those randomized email addresses?
Yeah.
But for credit card numbers. And then if you want to, you give Hulu your Hulu credit card number, and if you want to cancel it, you just cancel that credit card number.
Isn't that a thing at some point?
Well, I'm Googling this quickly, but 1Password just rolled out a new feature called Privacy Card. And when you use Privacy Card, you're still paying with your debit card or checking account, but the Privacy Card stands in as a proxy. None of your real financial info is shared with the company. Each card you make is linked to a single merchant and won't work anywhere else. You can set spending and frequency limits on each card to prevent unauthorized purchases or to help you stick with budget, and you can also pause or delete those cards at any time without affecting the associated account. Obviously, it's 1Password, so they'll autofill the payment information, and it's a feature that's already available now. You have to, it's in partnership with Privacy.com, so you have to create a Privacy.com account first and then connect it to your 1Password. But this just came out this week.
There is something like oxymoronic about creating an account on privacy.com.
A little suspicious.
That's interesting. I think one of you should try this and tell me.
I'm not a 1Password user, unfortunately. I guess I could just use it on
I
privacy.com.
am. I'll try it.
It's a cool idea.
Privacy.com challenge.
I don't even know what privacy.com does.
I've never heard of
I'm
that.
going to go to privacy.com right
I mean,
now.
there's a button that says try privacy today, and I'm like, okay.
I press enter on my browser as soon as I said that. I'm going to let you know when privacy.com loads.
I feel like privacy.com is a subsidiary of Facebook.
I would like to know who owns
What I can tell you is that privacy.com is a pretty heavy website. You know what website feels almost exactly like it does on my gigabit connection, even out here?
Wikipedia.
Google.
Oh, yeah.
I do a Google search, and it comes right up, even on this shitty internet. It's amazing.
I believe it.
Okay. I see like a column CSS grid with like 1/3 of my screen says for developers, we are card issuing API, and then the other 2/3 says your money, your rule.
Yeah, like half this webpage is images. Settle in, Dan. Settle in.
Oh yeah, it loaded. I'm there. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, look at all these tiles and images. Ooh, boy.
Well, they are I did look them up. They are a startup. They've raised about $12 million in funding, less than 50 employees. So, small folks.
Yeah, let's go to their careers page.
Hey, hire Dan. He's a smart guy. He'll make it even more private, I promise.
Privacy.com if you're listening. Oh, they're in New York City. I am on the job market, so hit me up.
We can only assume they're listening.
Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
Well, guys, as much fun as it is to talk about all this kind of nonsense, we missed 2 weeks, and we missed probably the 2 biggest weeks of the year, which was not very smart of us, because it is, can you hear the Santa sleigh bells in the background? It is pre-holiday shopping announcement time when all the companies announce the tech products you can buy in time for the holidays. I caught some QVC this weekend. They're already doing both pre-Black Friday sales and Christmas holiday gift idea sales. We saw big announcements from Sony, Amazon, Facebook, Apple. The list goes on. Guys, where would we even dare to begin?
I mean, should we go in chronological order?
That's perfectly fine by me. Apple would certainly be...
That was a good one.
All right. If you just want to do Apple, and I'm fine with that because there were...
But, you didn't get my chronological order joke.
Oh, because it was a time event?
Yeah.
With the watches and whatnot? Well, you got to let me explain the story first, and then, then it'll be hilarious. That's what I was missing. No, we saw the Time Flies announcement now about 2 weeks ago. A number of things announced, starting with the Apple Watch Series 6. They added blood oxygen saturation measuring, which is pretty exciting. It also has a new S6 chip, which is a dual-core processor based on the A13 Bionic and the iPhone 11. The screen can be brighter, an always-on altimeter for whatever reason. New colors, including a blue aluminum case, gold stainless steel, gray stainless steel called graphite, and a product red model. There's also new watch faces. Really what got me most excited were some new bands, some new wristbands, including the Solo Loop, a single stretchable bit of silicone with no clasp. There's also a braided Solo Loop available in 5 colors. The Series 6 starts at $399, and you can pre-order it. No, it's available for sale already because this article's old. We also, before we circle back on watches, we also saw the Apple Watch SE, a lower price model. Many of the similar features to 6 and 5. It's got the S5 chip from the 5. It does not have the always-on display, which the 5 had. It starts at $279. It's available, but they're going to continue to sell the Series 3 as well, which will start at $199. Lastly, they're removing the USB power adapter from the box. It will include the cable, just not the USB brick from the box moving forward. What do you think of these new Apple Watches?
Mostly not that exciting. The blood oxygen monitoring thing is timely. Very lucky that they were already planning to do that before all of the COVID stuff happened, because that's, I think, a leading indicator of whether you have COVID or not.
Yes.
But of course they couldn't say that, can't make medical claims and all that stuff that have not been approved by the FDA. I think that was the issue.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I have last year's model. I don't see a reason to upgrade. If I didn't have last year's model, I think it's a really good upgrade. The always on screen, the blood oxygen monitoring. I still don't know what I want an ECG for, but it has that too.
I have a Series 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know. I definitely want to upgrade at some point. The real problem is that my Series 3 now, I have to wipe the watch to reinstall. The last 2 watch updates, I've had to wipe the watch to install the update, because somehow there are 3 gigabytes of used storage that's being used by nothing on my watch.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I assume that's a bug of some kind that they will fix, maybe. But maybe I just need a new watch. I don't know. I do want the always on display though.
And the SE is a really good deal. I think if you're not a person who wants the latest and greatest, SE is
Yeah, I mean, I would go so far as to say, unless you have some sort of medical condition or are a real sort of health and fitness nut, I don't know why you would get the 6 over the SE, to be completely honest. I mean, yeah, you lose the always on screen, but I would be perfectly fine with that. And it's a pretty decent, I mean, you're talking $120 difference. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would I go for the 3 at $199? Probably not. I think you're worth putting in the extra to get the SE, but I think it's a tough sell to go to the 6, unless you're the tech person who wants the latest and greatest. Although I will say, I love the new colors of the watch itself. The new aluminum colors in the red, I think especially. I mean, I have the red iPhone, so I would love to get the matching watch. But I think the colors came out with the blue, and some of these other colors look really nice.
Yeah, the blue is cool.
Yeah, I forgot about the colors.
I'm pretty intrigued by the single piece bands.
I want that so bad.
I would never ever purchase one of those online without.
Well, did you see they have a tool? So they actually, of course, who has a printer these days, but they actually have a thing you can print out, cut out, and wrap around your wrist to get the measurement. It's very funny looking to actually go and do it, but yeah, I think that's a fun idea. That and the braided one, I think also. The braided single loop also looks really nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But those braided single loops are $100 a piece. That's crazy. Shame on you, Apple. That's crazy.
Yep.
Any other?
I think. Oh, wait. There's more from this event, right?
There sure is,
there's
Dan.
more.
Don't blink; you might miss it. Quickly, didn't mention that the new family setup feature allows you to manage multiple Apple Watches with a single iPhone. I don't really think that's that important. Updated iPad Air. Looking good. Stealing some of the cues from the iPad Pro, the all-screen design. A bigger 10.9-inch liquid retina display. But here's an interesting bit. The Touch ID button has been moved from the front of the device to the top using the sleep or wake button. Very similar to Samsung phones have done that for a while. A few other devices have had it in the button. Interesting there. It also has a new Apple design chip, the A14 Bionic. It's faster. It's also got improved cameras. It also has USB-C. Interesting. Available in 5 colors, starting at $5.99. It will be available next month. They also updated the 8th generation iPad Original with the internals. A faster chip starts at $329. Available later this month.
Cool.
I mean, I think
Cool.
I think the Touch ID button is like a big blinking like seen before red flag of like, this is coming to the iPhone at some point soon. Like that to me scream, because there's been rumors for years and years and years and years of them like, they're going to bring back fingerprints, they're going to bring back Touch ID, and everyone was like, how are they going to do it? And I'm like, oh, well, they already did it, so why wouldn't you just, especially with the sort of mask issue of face recognition and privacy issues and things. I think that's, if we don't see it this year, it's got to be next year. That's on the iPhones, right? Or am I crazy?
I don't know. I didn't know they were bringing back fingerprints.
Well, I swear, every year when there are new iPhones, there's always a rumor. Oh, they're looking at bringing back Touch ID, whether it's in the screen or it's on the back. And it was always like, well, they just don't have the tech to do it. But now that I know they already have a special designed a button, I don't know.
I could get on board with that. I really want both. I want both the things.
Well, that's what's great. Get the best of both worlds. And some people are going to prefer one over the other. I mean, I think, like I said, I just have a tough time with the mask now, and hopefully it's not a permanent issue, but I have an issue with the mask where Face ID just doesn't work great. And to have both options, even when it's cold out and you're wearing something over your face, or you're wearing sunglasses, or, you know, there are just times Face ID isn't optimal.
Well, see, that was, if you recall, I've definitely said this on this program before, but the thing I got excited about Face ID for was that I didn't have to take my gloves off in the cold weather.
Yep.
But now we have the opposite problem. Masks are the new gloves.
Masks are the new gloves. That is the episode.
Face gloves?
I'm writing that down. Masks are the new gloves. I also think USB-C is very interesting as well. Really, I believe that, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first device in Apple's mobile cavalcade to go to USB-C, or is the Pro already?
The last new iPads have USB-C.
The iPad Pros went USB-C. Okay, I think you're right.
Yeah, that was last time around.
Now there's big talk that and I think it's probably very likely there'll be another Apple event next month or early November to release the iPhones. You guys think we'll see USB-C in those phones?
Maybe.
I predict no.
Yeah.
I predict no.
Yeah,
Only because I think the Lightning accessory ecosystem is much stronger with the iPhones than it is the iPads. And I think the advantages to having USB-C in an iPad is much more important than having it in an iPhone today. Right.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, it makes sense to do it for the iPad because, like, they want it to be a thing, you know. They want it, especially the pros, right? Like, it's trying to be like a computer replacement. Like, you can't really have a computer replacement with silly like Lightning dongles.
Yep.
But like the iPhone, everybody already has a Lightning cable. Everybody's going to be annoyed if they have to get new cables. I would be annoyed. I have so many Lightning cables. There's one in every plug.
How many USB-C cables do you have?
Not as many. I have a few, but not as many.
Yeah, I've gone through stages where I bulk order cables from Amazon. For a while, I was ordering like 2-3 HDMI cables at a time. Then it was Lightning. Now I'm going to have to get into USB-C.
Right, you gotta like invest for the future.
Well, you know, Amazon always gets you because it's like you can buy one cable for $8 or 5 cables for $12, and you're like, well, I need 5 of them. They always trick me.
Yeah.
Let's get into some subscription stuff here quick. The Apple One subscription bundle, bundling all of your favorite services. It's a bit convoluted, I will admit, and it took me a minute to figure out how these work, but there are a couple different tiers. Your cheapest $14.95 per month comes with Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, and 50 gigabytes of iCloud storage. The family plan has that same group of services, but goes to 200 gigabytes of iCloud storage for $19.95 a month and can be shared between up to 6 people. Then the Premier bundle has those same services, 2 terabytes of iCloud storage, and Apple News Plus and Fitness Plus, which we'll talk about in a minute, for $29.95 per month and can be shared with up to 6 people. Now, before we get into that, we should add a new subscription service they rolled out, Fitness. Apple Fitness Plus. You have that plus at the end. It is essentially a workout training app-ish. 10 different workout types, including yoga, cycling, and dance, and new workouts will be added every week. And you essentially follow along their sort of, I wouldn't say gimmick, but sort of their interesting attachment is the integration with Apple Watch. You'll actually be able to see your stats such as heart rate and calories burned on screen, as well as intelligent suggestions for which workouts to try based on your watch data. It will also integrate with Apple Music to use your music as part of the workouts. As I said, a bunch of different, those require Fitness Plus requires an Apple Watch, and you'll need to have a Series 3 modeler later to use the service to see the data up on screen. It will be available for iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV exclusively. It is, I don't think they announced the exact launch date when this is. Before the end of the year, it will be available, and as I mentioned, it'll be $9.99 a month, $79.99 a year. You'll get 3 months free with the purchase of a new Apple Watch, or as I mentioned, it'll be part of the Apple One subscription bundle. This may be the single thing I was most excited about in this announcement.
I would agree.
When I first was listening to the announcement, they announced this. Initially, I was really excited. I was like, oh, I already paid for the cloud storage. And I was like, wait, I don't pay for any of the other things on here. And then, like, I also pay like $1 a month for 50 gigs of cloud storage. So, I don't know.
Yeah, the overall subscription I thought was confusing and not all that attractive. Because especially what really bummed me is the Premier bundle, where they like made news a Premier option, where it's like, is anyone going to, people don't pay for news now. Are they going to do it like as, but really it's, you buy it for the Fitness Plus in that extra level and you basically get news for free.
Can we get a...
Right, and as I read somewhere else, the reason that news might be up there is because news is the only thing that is in these subscriptions that Apple doesn't own themselves. Right, the margins on an Apple TV show, like, sure, it costs them millions of dollars to make each one, but they don't have to pay someone else. They're not cutting anyone else in on that. Same thing with the Fitness Plus stuff, which is another crazy thing. Like, Apple TV Plus is it $5 a month?
Yeah.
And Plus, if you were to subscribe, it's $10 a month. And Apple makes everything in both of those, from the app to the subscription platform to the video content. And is it really Fitness Plus is more than twice as much money, is twice as much money rather, than a new a TV show with Jennifer Aniston in it? That's hard to believe.
Well,
that's suspicious.
And the savings aren't. So, according to Apple, the individual plan, which is the smallest, saves you about $6 per month based on the standard monthly pricing if you just bought the apps yourself. The family plan, $8 per month. The Premier plan, $25 per month in savings. And that's mostly coming from news and fitness. I think, I just don't know if it's enough of a, I guess if you already have them, but it's, I don't know.
Here's where I came down on it. If you're going to go in on this with a group of people, I think it makes a lot of sense, because then, like, yeah, Colby, the $1 a month for one person, iCloud storage is probably fine. Not enough for 2 people or 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in a group situation, I think the iCloud storage aspect of these tiers makes a lot more sense. But then the other thing is, I have been watching like increasingly more Apple TV stuff. It went from like, oh, there's one good show on Apple TV. Like now there's been like a couple things we've watched, and it's pretty good. I would be sad. I think year over year, I would be sad if I never watched anything on Apple TV. Month to month, it's like, meh. There's probably some months where there's nothing good on it, but I'm getting to the point where it won't just be a one-off, like where Disney Plus is for me right now. And I'm excited about Fitness Plus. So to me, being in a situation where there's two of us potentially that would be going in on this. We both use iCloud storage. We both want Apple TV, although only one of us has it right now. And using Fitness Plus, the family plan starts to like kind of break even and be convenient. The subscription might make more sense if you use the iCloud storage as like your Dropbox replacement.
Right.
For example, I don't know. Do you pay for Dropbox also, Colby?
No.
No, you don't. Okay. So you pay for any cloud storage besides iCloud?
No.
Wow. You're just living life dangerously.
Well,
living life.
I have my bootleg cloud backup thing. Like I back things up to AWS, which I guess I pay for, but it's like pennies, right? And then I use that like the service formerly called BitTorrent Sync that like syncs between all my devices, and then like that is just backup to AWS. So like that is free.
What's called now?
Resilio Sync or something like that. But that's what I do. Whether or not that's a good idea, I don't know. But it's been fine so far. I think we should get a Don't Panic family plan.
Ooh, it's tempting. I see. I don't understand how. I've never actually looked into the Apple family. Like, what stops just random people from creating a family plan? Like, there's got to be some sort of.
Well, I think you get access to everyone's stuff in certain cases.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, are you there?
No, we're here.
But yeah, like I think you get access to everyone's apps. Is that the case?
Well, I'm going to Google it quick while we're talking. But for me, fitness is just really compelling because I've been wanting to do at-home fitness stuff for a while, and it's partly because I'm lazy and don't want to do it, but also it's hard to know who to trust, and there's a lot of apps out there, and I don't know who's good and who's not, and I'm like, well, if Apple's doing it, it's got to be pretty good, right? What really bothers me is it's an Apple TV exclusive, which means, because I was really like, oh, well, like, regular Apple TV and Apple TV Plus are on Roku now. Like, maybe I could, and it's like, no, if I want to do it, I gotta go get an Apple TV. So that was kind of a bummer. But that's all. Otherwise, I would be on this, like, day one. I think it's really exciting and a smart idea.
I didn't realize that. That's, yeah.
Well, I think that has to do with
if you have one of those, like, one of those TVs that has kind of gone in on the Apple stuff, and they have AirPlay and the TV app and all of that, that doesn't work there either?
I don't know if you can like screen mirror AirPlay your like iPad or something, but no, it won't. Well, I think it has to do with the watch integration where it shows your live stats on screen, and I just think whether it's a latency issue or what, but there's just some reason why it's an Apple Tech exclusive thing.
Huh.
So.
I guess it makes sense. Like, it's an app at the end of the day.
Right. Right. Alrighty. So that was the Apple event. Is there another event you guys want to talk about here?
I think we should go to picks.
Dan wants to just look at, just not interested in Amazon's drone that flies around your house and takes pictures of your house when you're not home.
No, I guess we should talk about that. You were interested in it.
I would love to buy one. Amazon had a hardware event, and they did that thing Amazon does where they announce like 300 things in like 20 minutes, including Amazon Luna, their cloud gaming service. The Echo device is now a ball instead of a puck. Some Fire TV stuff. I will talk about two things that I think is really exciting for me, both of which are Ring devices. There was some AI stuff where their smart assistant will listen and ask clarifying questions, is more conversational, whatever. One is the Ring security cameras for cars. I don't know if you guys saw this. You mount it on your car's dashboard, and the car cam has a camera pointed out the front windshield and one that points towards the car interior. It can send an alert whenever a break-in, towing, an accident's indicated. It'll also be able to ping first responders in the event of an accident. You can also say, a name, I'm being pulled over, and it'll automatically trigger the cameras to start recording and save their footage to the cloud. And that device will cost you $20, which I'm like, wow. Oh no, I'm sorry. Why did I say $20? I thought it said $19.99, which doesn't make any sense. $199.99. That makes a lot more sense. But I just thought in this era of policing and other such things, I said, oh, that's a really interesting idea.
I saw this in the context that it was related to Tesla cars in some way, but this works with any car.
Yeah, so they announced three things. One is the car alarm, which plugs into your OBD2 diagnostic port that basically just lets you know if someone breaks in or it has no cameras in it, and it adds an alarm. What you're talking about is they actually rolled out a service, a Car Connect platform that works with manufacturers to enable owners to receive alert for events, view recorded footage, and see if the car is locked or unlocked from within the Ring app. Tesla is its first partnership. They'll be able to connect to the car's existing cameras and view the footage from a security perspective, which is smart because that car has a lot of cameras on
it. Yeah.
The other thing to talk about, the Always Home Cam. I mean, this definitely the highlight of the event from Ring. It's an autonomous drone that flies around the inside of your home to give you a perspective of any room you want when you're not home, and when it's done, it returns to its dock to charge. It'll provide multiple viewpoints throughout the home without requiring the use of multiple cameras. Fully autonomous, but you can tell it what path to take and where it can go. You build a map of your home first, and then in the app you can tell it where to go, or give it sort of a pre-recorded route it'll always circle. Especially if a disturbance is detected by linking a Ring alarm system. The charging dock blocks the camera's view, and the camera only records when it's in flight. It can be used for simple things like checking if a stove was left on or a window open, or it can go around, obviously, if it hears something suspicious. It'll run you $249.99.
Now, are you sold on this, Sean? You're just going to get it?
I got to be honest, at $249, it's really pushing my willing to try it price. At $149, you bet I would have bought this already, because I am fascinated by it. But I think it's just a little too pricey. But I love I genuinely think it's a clever idea.
Yeah, because then you don't have to put cameras all over your house. You can just get one. So you could argue it's saving you money.
And I love the idea that you map out your home and then can actually, so it doesn't just do a pre-recorded loop every 20 minutes or something. You can actually be like, oh, do me a favor, go check the upstairs bathroom. And it'll actually be able to go do it. To me, that's wow. That's actually a smart idea.
It does sound kind of useful.
Now, what will your mom think when she rounds a corner and sees this thing hovering there?
Honestly, I think I'd be more concerned about the cat trying to catch it out of the air.
That's right.
It can't go too low because he will get it.
Right. If eagles are the enemy of the Amazon delivery drone, then cats are going to be the enemy of this thing.
Oh yeah, he's gonna hate this. Oh my god, absolutely despise it. But that's part of the fun, right? It's not only a security drone, it's a pet toy. Yeah, I just wonder what the quality of video is. That's really my only question is like how good and stable is the video as this thing flies around. I'm waiting for some people to get it in their homes and actually try it out. But yeah, interesting. I mean, gotta give Amazon credit. They're not just like doing boring stuff.
No, but yeah, at least that sounds exciting. The other stuff just seems like Amazon has with the Alexa a very much a throw it at the wall and see what sticks mentality. It's like the Alexa microwave, the Alexa TVs. I've never heard anyone use Alexa on their TV. Sorry, I'm setting off everyone's Alexa. I just realized. The microwave has gotten poor reviews. The TV, I've never really seen anyone use it. I don't know. Maybe you have, Sean. But it seems like they're just like, hey, like maybe it's cars, maybe it's home security, maybe it's lawnmowers. Let's try it all.
Yeah, and I think, and this is just sort of anecdotally, I think over the last year or so, I've seen companies really dial that back. You're absolutely right. There was that span where they're like, no, we're going to put it in everything. And I think they've backed off of it a little bit because they realized that, and I think Google Assistant got more juice, and they didn't want to put both in everything. But I agree with you. I mean, but that's what's interesting is not only do they try crazy new things, but they also we didn't talk about it. We probably won't because it's not that interesting. But the new Echo Show 10, which is the sort of bigger screen device, basically stole the Facebook thing of tracking you when you move around a room, except instead of Facebook's Portal having a really high-res camera that zooms in, this is actually has a motor and will actually turn the screen to face you as you go around the room. So some of this stuff is crazy new ideas, but some of this is also just like borrowing what other people did successfully. You know, the Luna game streaming is basically what Microsoft and Google and everyone else is trying to do.
Oh, right. The game streaming. I don't think that's ever going to work. I think gamers are too sensitive to latency. And honestly, I think gamers are like slaves to tradition and are actually very conservative when it comes to products and see the whole last console generation when PlayStation, remember this, PlayStation did the thing where they're like, here's how you share games on a PlayStation. And they had the guy handing the disc to the other person.
Yep.
Have we reflected on this?
No.
Wow. 2013, what a time. Whereas Microsoft was kind of ahead of the curve, and maybe now we're finally ready because Microsoft at the time was very much like, oh, this is going to be a device that is your home, their living room, and things are streaming and everything's digital and online, and it wasn't ready at the time. Maybe it is now, but I think that remains to be seen. But I don't think Amazon's going to succeed here any more than Google has succeeded, but we'll see.
Yeah, you're right. It's left to be seen. I always just come back to their different types of gamers, and the question is how big is each audience, right? Because you're right. The hardcore Call of Duty guy is probably not going to go game streaming, but you look at a game like Fall Guys or some of these more, what I would argue is like casual advanced games, like not iPhone casual, but still sort of fun.
Have you played Fall Guys?
I have not. I'm hip enough to have heard of it, but not have played it. I don't know if anyone here has.
No, I grabbed it when it was free on PlayStation, but I still haven't played it yet.
Oh, I heard of this. I haven't played.
Yeah, but I think that is where I think a streaming service comes in, is the more sort of less hard, like almost like a Rocket League seems to me like a good example if they can get the latency working well, where it's like, it's just kind of fun to pick up and play once in a while, and I'm not going to spend $500 on a console type thing. But that's a small market, so I'm with you, Dan. I don't know if these individual segments are big enough within the overall video, because then you also have the computer guys, the PC guys, who's like, I really need a crazy amount of power, I'm gonna build a piece. It's iPhone folks who do those kind of. It's very odd. Their niche just might be a little too small. We'll have to see. All right. Well, I think it's time we move on to picks. I don't have one this week, so I've been busy. So I'm going to let you two own this. And Dan, you seem very excited about your pick. I'm excited about your pick. What is your pick?
Yeah. So let me describe some use cases first, and then I'll explain what this is. If you have a file server at home, or I guess Plex kind of handles this. Any sort of device on your network that you want to use, a Raspberry Pi, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Raspberry Pi is great. If you use that Pi-hole thing, which I've recommended, then it gives you really sophisticated ad blocking that works really well, but doesn't work when you're not at home. Have you ever wanted to set up like remote desktop to your computer, but then it's like, oh God, I have to like forward these ports in my firewall, and then it will just be accessible over the internet, so I'll have to like put a username and password on it. That's super inconvenient, and we don't do it. What if there's a way that you could be on your home network wherever you are? And the old answer to this was to use a VPN. But then the problem with the VPN is when you're on the VPN, you're actually not on the network that you are on, which is inconvenient when you want to go to like the router, right? You can't get to 192.168.1.1 when you're VPN'd in, because that's somewhere else. Enter this thing called WireGuard, which is a technology that this app that is my pick called Tailscale uses. And Tailscale is an app that you install on all of your devices, iPads, iPhones, Android, Raspberry Pi, Mac, Windows, whatever. And all of those things are available to all the things that the app is installed on always. They get their own special IP addresses, so you can't use like my Raspberry Pi is on 192.168.1.248 at home. I can't use that from here, but it does have an IP address I can use, so I can actually set my Raspberry Pi in New York to be my DNS server here in Maine, and it just works.
Wow.
All these things can ping each other no matter where they are on the internet. As long as they can connect to the internet, they are part of the network. All you have to do is sign in with your Tailscale account, and you're off to the races. It's possible to do this, by the way, using WireGuard directly without using this service. I don't know how to do that, but WireGuard is free for personal use, so I would say go and use it. So here's the cool thing I was able to do. I was just able to install remote desktop on my Windows PC, disable all security, and put it into like connect that computer to Tailscale, and I can just connect to it with no username and password from anywhere in the world. And it's secure and encrypted and all of that stuff. No one else can do that because they need to have signed into the Tailscale account to do that. So it's really cool. Check it out. I know we're all not doing a lot of traveling, but if you are, or even if you're just walking around, like having my phone always be pointed to my Raspberry Pi for ad blocking, even when I'm going to the store or whatever, is kind of nice, and it doesn't cost you anything. And what else are you going to do except set this up? We're all kind of bored.
I was going to say, Dan, a service like this must be enormously expensive.
No, I don't. Yeah, maybe it's venture funded. I don't know, but nope, not expensive.
Very cool. Oh, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. Solves a very real problem. So, Tailscale.com. Check it out.
Yeah, let me know if you try it out.
Yeah, maybe if you ask nicely, Dan will let you connect into his private network that doesn't connect to anywhere else.
No, not so much.
Think-
But I would be curious if you tried it out, Sean, because like this is on paper kind of complicated, but I think it's actually really simple.
But I don't know what
You
I would
sign in,
connect
and
to.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I think it allows you to do stuff that was previously impossible. Imagine if, you know how they have all these like webcams and security cameras and stuff, and in order to use them, you have to sign into Nest or Amazon or all these different things,
Oh,
right?
sure.
They all have their accompanying service.
Yeah.
With this, you don't have to pay for the service because you could get the hypothetical. This would be a little complicated, but you could have like your Raspberry Pi just pulling the video directly off of that camera, and you could just look at it from anywhere in the world without having to pay Google to your $20 a month to access the thing. Like, that's the thing you could do with it. Any sort of like smart home thing would be great for this to access like when you're not home. But HomeKit kind of solves that. But all the things that solve this are like, hey, proxy your stuff through us. Like, proxy it through us. And the cool thing about Tailscale is that you're not proxying it through them. Tailscale is just a thing that says like, hey, here are all your devices, and then each device connects directly to the other one.
Well,
so if you connected to your Raspberry Pi, you're not going through the Tailscale servers and then back down. It's just a direct connection.
Well, if the internet is a series of tubes, they've built the tube directly between you and your device.
They've aligned all the tubes like in one of those video game puzzles.
Yes, and they're free to use that line for their marketing. That is super. Dan, you know, I got to tell you always find the most wacky, fun stuff to just overcomplicate all of our lives. I love it. Colby, I am very excited about this pick, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But Colby, what's your pick here?
So, whatever we are, like 4, 5, 6 months. How I don't know how deep we are into quarantine. I've been working from home for many months. There's no particular end in sight. So I finally decided to spend some time and like give myself a proper work at home like desk area. I got a chair. I got like a desk lamp, etc., etc. I, for a long time, have been thinking about getting a new like Thunderbolt USB-C like dock thing with like ports. I've been very wary about it because the last time I tried to buy a dock thing, it worked for like 2 weeks and then it stopped working consistently, and it would like, this is probably recorded in Don't Panic history too, because when I got it, I was using it to record the show, and it would just like randomly like shut off for like 10 seconds and then it would come back. So like my video would cut out, my mics would drop off the face of the earth. And that was very sad. So I had some trauma from that experience. And I've been putting off getting a dock for a long time, but I finally did it. I got this CalDigit T3 Plus Thunderbolt 3 dock, and it's great. It works perfectly. It has a bunch of ports. It can charge things. It can charge your computer. I have one like USB-C cable that comes out. Like, I stuck it on the bottom of my desk, which is great. So I have one USB-C cable that comes out from behind my monitor, and I plug it into whatever laptop I'm using, and like, oops, all the things connect, which is nice. And one thing I like about it is it has like a front side and a back side, and the back side has all kinds of crazy ports and like the power input and stuff. But the front side has like a couple ports and like an SD card slot and stuff. So for things that, you know, just like on the fly, plugging things in and unplugging things, you can just plug them into the front. It has like a headphone jack and I think an audio in, like a mic in port on the front, which is pretty convenient. But so far, it's worked really well. It is pretty expensive. It was $250. So I don't know if the cheaper ones are any good or what, but I decided to go with this one, and so far it has worked as advertised, which is
How
more
did
than I
you
could have asked for.
determine that this was the one? Like,
I mean,
how did you do your research?
it was like the wire cutter thing, but
Ah,
I did. To be fair, I'm pretty sure the last one I got was also the wire cutter thing. So I read a lot of Amazon reviews and I looked at a bunch of the other ones. It took me like 2 weeks to actually decide to get this, but it does what I wanted it to do.
Yeah, CalDigit's very legitimate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I got my MacBook, my first ever MacBook through my company, I made them buy me one of these. And it's amazing. I mean, this thing, you just plug in the one cable, and for me, it's Ethernet, because my office has terrible Wi-Fi, which is shocking in 2020, but it's true. And frankly, the SD card slot, because I do a lot with videotaping and audio recording, and I'm always having this. This thing is like total foolproof. I would say if you're building a Thunderbolt-based, USB-C based desk setup, and I think you'd agree, invest. Get the thing that works, and then you never have to think about it again.
Yeah. Like, given I'm only 3 weeks into owning this, but so far it's been really good. And like every other like USB-C based like multi-connector I've ever used has been unreliable in one way or another, which this has yet to be. Knock on wood. But yeah, it's really good. It's also pretty small for like how many ports there are on it. It's quite compact.
And it doesn't
nice.
At least in my experience, it doesn't get too hot. It doesn't. I mean, it just works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll have the link to that on the website. If you want to buy one, please use the referral link. We'll actually make some money on this one. So check that out there.
Do it.
Guys, anything else you'd like to say or discuss before we wrap it up?
Preference acknowledged.
Thank you. No, hey, look, it was just great being back with you guys. I will very quickly tease. We are on a 2-week hiatus from Up for Debate due to me moving. But the last published episode had these two guys on it for the Great Cookie Taste-Off. How fun was that, guys?
It was pretty fun.
It was a lot of fun. I still have a lot of cookies left, but I did finish off the Fig Newtons are done. And I think the Stroop waffles. The Fig Newtons are done, the Stroop waffles are done. And wait, let me look. I have some of them here.
You brought them with you? That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean they're still kicking. I don't know how many of the Oreos are left, and there's still a lot of Chips Ahoy left. So I think that validates my my ranking.
Speaks for itself. Yep.
I had to purge my cookies, but I ate many of them.
That's
one of my favorite.
Okay.
One of my new favorite Colby stories.
Well, that was a treat. You can check it out at upfordebate.tv or wherever you get podcasts. Search Up for Debate. We are on hiatus. I did not get my last week of Sean Tember, so I will get a rain check. And here's a spoiler. I finally decided what I'm going to do. We're going to do a live commentary on Point Break, which is a fantastic, fun movie that I think would make a great live commentary. Keanu Reeves and the other guy, Patrick Swayze. It's about surfing and bank robbers, and there's action, and it is so 80s. It's a fun movie. So I think that's eventually we'll do that. But we are going to start in October. We're going to start doing Scaretober. So we're going to do some scary movies, some scary books. Up for Debate.tv. Make sure you subscribe. We will be back with this show next week with all the tech news. I can't imagine there's even more, but we'll find out in the next 7 days. We hope you join us, though. Don'tPanic.io is our website. Go there, get all the info on the show, including links to this week's pick and past picks, too. You can subscribe wherever you get podcasts on every major platform. We're there. Check us out. And, of course, follow us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter and email us don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. Boys, I think that's going to do it for us. We're going to wrap it up here. On behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on yet another episode of Don't Panic.